Hello, Hat! Listen, I want to make this video about an experience that I had recently that I can now tell you guys about. A few months ago, I got the chance to act in a movie. I was in a movie, which is weird, and the best thing ever. But, like, seriously, I did that. Here's a picture. So I just want to talk about what that experience is like and what it feels like to do that, because I didn't know what it was going to be like, and I assume there are some people that are curious, and if you're not and you think it's boring, honestly, I don't give a fuck about what people think about me anymore. So I don't really know where to start because there's a lot to say about it. I guess I would start out by telling you guys that I was incredibly terrified. I didn't know what I was getting into. I didn't know what was going to happen. I didn't know what to expect. I had no idea what I was doing. I was afraid I was going to slow everything down because I was like a beginner, and they'd bring up like terms I didn't know, and they'd be like, all right, let's do a double back shot and a triple take. And I'd be like, huh? Keep in mind, this is my first job ever, like anything. I've had YouTube, which gets me like $2 a day. I was in a different state. It was the longest I'd ever been away from home. And my first day on the set, our first day shooting the movie, was a little scene that we call a makeout scene. No dialogue, no talking, just action makeout. I had to make out with someone who was a stranger, and that's how everything started, and it was just as far out of my comfort zone as I could possibly get, and just like most things like that, it happens, and like you're leading up to it, and you're nervous, and all of a sudden, it's like, oh my god, it's going to happen in 2 seconds, and the only thing you can do is do it the best you can, or like run away, which isn't gonna happen. The girl was actually really nice. Like, I remember thinking, I was like, okay, this is the best person I could have been paired up to do this with, and also I am the worst person she could be sharing this experience with. Like, I was being unprofessional, nervous. I was asking her a bunch of questions. I was like, where do I touch you? How do I kiss? I remember I was really asking her that. I was like, I don't remember how to kiss. I don't want to do it wrong. And I was like, I've kissed people before, but is it like this? I was like, what about my tongue? And she's like, what about your tongue? And I was like, well, do I use it? And she's like, no. And I'm like, what if I lose control of my tongue? I really said that. And she's like, how would you lose control of your tongue? And I'm like, let's not argue. And I made it even more embarrassing. Here's the next part of the story. It was already so embarrassing because I was freaking out and shaking. We shot it about 5 or 6 times, and after one take, I noticed that she was bleeding from her lips because I bit her face. On accident. I'm not a weirdo. And she was like so sweet about it. She was like saying it in a really nice way, because even after that happened, after a take, she just goes, remember the teeth? And I was like, oh my god. She was being like so sweet, like, can we not, like, no more chomp chomp, okay? Also, I've wondered about this before, like actors in a sexual scene, it's like, are they turned on? No, I was not. Not because of her, because I had no time to be. It's so unsexy, and I know that's like the stock answer. Like, you hear that in interviews, they're like, of course I wasn't hard, and it's like, yeah, you were. No, I mean, there are so many people, it's true, and there were extras. There was like 15 teenagers. It was like a party scene. They were like surrounding us, and I was like so intimidated by the extras, because they're like the people who don't have any lines, and they're just in the background, and I thought they were so much cooler than me. And then a part of me was like, wait, but I'm the actor and they're the extras, but they were cool. It was like pretty girls, like these hot girls, and like guys with like cool gelled hair, and I was trying to make eye contact with them and be like, this is weird, right? I wanted someone to tell me that it was weird. I'm making out with a stranger, and everyone's like, it's fine. And I'm like, no! And that is the weird thing about this, which I really wasn't expecting that much, is that it's weird to get into character acting on screen, because you have an audience. You don't only have the extras when there's extras in the scene, but there's a huge camera, and there's a person behind it, and there's just so much stuff. There's machines, and there's what I pictured being on a movie set, like the equipment, it was like 3 times more than that. And there's a guy with a microphone on a huge stick called a boom mic, and he's going back and forth on the people talking right next to your head, and you can see him. There's movement, and you're supposed to ignore that. So it's like, I'm not just acting as a kid at a party talking to someone. I'm acting as a kid at a party talking to someone that doesn't see these strange men hovering around him. Like, that's part of it. And there's just these technical aspects of it that can get really overwhelming. They put tape on the ground. You might have heard of this before. It's called your mark. They put little pieces of tape on the ground, so they say action, you start somewhere, and then you have to walk to your mark and walk up with your feet to that part, but you can't look at the ground. We were improvising a lot, so you're thinking of what you're going to say. It's a lot, and it's a lot of pressure. And I have to say this, I don't want this to sound like complaining. There are things that made it harder than I imagined it to be, but the fun aspect of it is so much fun that I would be willing to do anything to be able to do it. If we had to do 200 push-ups in between takes and wear nipple clamps, that's fine. It's worth it completely. It's just a weird situation because I was thinking about it. I was like, this is a job I'm doing right now. And I get annoyed when I hear like super big movie stars say that. Like George Clooney's like, well, it's my job. And it's like, no, it's not, because if you have $100 million, it's kind of a hobby. Like, you're not working to put food on the table. But I am. Like, I'm saving up money because I don't have any money. It was my job. And I was thinking about it on set, like talking to the other actors. I was like, this is a weird job, because what other job do you have where it's recorded, and in a year you know you are going to be reviewed by people, and thousands, hundreds of thousands, maybe millions of people are going to see your work in this job. And you know, you don't work at McDonald's and they don't release that on DVD and people write blogs about it and tell you that your performance that day sucked. But that will happen, and it's going to be criticized, and it's going to be immortalized. What I'm going to do on set in the next 2 hours, I knew it was going to live forever on TV and on the internet, and people are going to watch it, and it's just that day. So I have to just do my best. And what if it wasn't? And I go home and think, oh my God, what if I could have done that better right now? I could do that better tomorrow. What if I could have done it better another time and got more prepared? And it's a lot of pressure, because you only have a few chances, and it's so permanent. It's a really interesting environment to be in. The movie set is full of all these people, and you get to know everyone, and everyone has their job. Everyone has a specific job. So when you're watching a movie, you see this thing that was decided by so many different people with their little jobs. There's a prop person, there's a set dresser, there's lighting people, there's electricians, there's a set medic, there's people who put out food for everyone to keep us nourished. If there's a scene where I'm taking a sip of water, and I sip water in that scene, in between the take, the prop guy will come and fill up the water again, and the lady who does the hair will come up and fix my weird bangs, and the person who does the wardrobe might tuck in a tag, or my nipples. Oh my God, I can tell you guys about that. Here's a true story. For like the whole movie, I had to wear band-aids on my nipples. Really, because my nipples, I didn't think they're like big or anything. They're hairy, but they're not like, maybe they are huge, I don't know, but they get like rock hard, and I guess that was like super distracting. So I wore band-aids. So I kind of ripped those off at the end of the day for a hard day's work, and I'm just a band-aid daddy. Yeah, here's some more pictures. Questions people usually ask me when they find out about this is, you know, like, what is it? What is it about? It's a movie about teenagers coming home for their first Thanksgiving break after college. It's an ensemble cast. There's 4 main characters. We play these teenagers. I'm one of them. I am like this nerdy guy who's in love with a girl. How can you see it? I don't know what theaters it'll be in. I know it'll be in some theaters. It depends on the distribution, and if it gets picked up by a distributor, and if people like it, it will go to more theaters. It'll definitely have a limited release. It'll definitely come out on DVD in the next year, and it will also air on the Stars channel, because they actually filmed us making the movie for the show coming out in November or the fall, I think, called The Chair, which is like a documentary series about 2 directors making a movie, and Shane Dawson made this one, and they had another one being made in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania at the same time, and they're going to pick a winner. And I think that's actually going to be a really interesting show that I would watch. So I'm going to be in that. So I'll put links down there of like the IMDb. You can sign up for the mailing list for the movie, information, articles about like the show and what it's going to be like, and the movie. Also, I made a Q&A video where I ask questions on like Twitter and stuff, so you can watch that if you care a little more. I'll link that right here. You can watch it. More information. If you don't care, I don't care. Thanks for watching. Thank you for watching me. This kind of happened through YouTube, so I don't know how to say thank you. There's not really a way to say thank you, but it's so awesome that you guys watched my videos, and this is the best thing, and I had so much fun, and I am excited for you guys to see it, and yeah, thank you. Danielle asks, how many nude scenes did you do? I actually have a story about that. Okay, so